Hello everyone, and welcome to a very different video I'm doing today. Today I'm making a How to Train Your Dragon tier list. It's simply, it's just in a Discord conversation talking about what dragons could beat other dragons, and, I decided to just make a tier list video, and so, before I get into it, I want to bring up a couple, ground rules that I'm doing. First of all, I won't be discussing any of the Kaiju Dragon. I made their own tier for them, and this is the order that I believe they'd go in. I'm not going into depth because I'm too lazy to do this, so feel agree to disagree. Second of all, I'm going in order of all of these, so I'm starting with the Sentinel, and whatever's below it, whatever's the last one, I'll be finishing off with that. And, finally, this is my opinion. Most of this is to my recollection. So if some stuff is inaccurate or you disagree with something, let me know in the comments. And without further ado, let's get started. Starting with the Sentinel. Put in an S tier, to be honest. Yeah, we're starting strong. These dragon. The main thing that I'm looking for in this, or one of the main things that I'm thinking about, is how well would some of these dragons fare against others. And the Sentinel absolutely, kills it in this area, because the thing about them, since they live at Vanaheim, and they've seen almost every species of dragon, minus some of the minus the Kaijus and Toothless, along with a couple others, potentially, minus those, they've seen every other dragon, and they know their weaknesses, their attack styles, all of that. And so, because of that, I think that gives them a major edge. They have strong gusts of wind that can throw off flying. They have small fire blasts. The only drawback is they're blind, but other than that, they are really powerful, and I think it's a strong start to go on. So, S for Sentinel. Woohoo. Sea Shocker's gonna go in B tier. I'll be completely honest. Just to my recollection, I have not seen this thing fly. I don't know what it will do if it's out of water for too long. Maybe it will be perfectly fine. Maybe it'll suffocate. But even then, it doesn't really have too much range because its electric attack, it's kind of like, it's fixed. It has to be fixed on something to my recollection. Even so, they still get hunted down by Squadrons, so there's not really much. So, for that reason, I kind of have to put it in B tier. Monstrous Nightmare is gonna go in A tier, because these things, this is one of the more, stronger OG ones. I still think it holds up to most of the a fair amount of the competition. Setting itself on fire is a very useful tactic to try and get a dragon off you, or intimidation. Their fire is very strong and melty and all that. They have large claws. Oh, all around, they're a pretty strong dragon. Night Terrors are going in C tier. By themselves, these things are screwed against any other dragon. Maybe not against, the Fireworms, I don't know. But when they're together, all they really do is scare off dragons. They don't really fight or anything. And if you take out the white one in the center, then all of the other ones just separate and can't do anything. They're just now if it were based on pets, they would be easy S tier, but I think because it's on how powerful these dragons I believe to be are, can't really put them any higher. So Deadly Adder is going to go into B tier. These dragons I think are very versatile. They have spine shots, they have the hottest dragon fire in the world according to Astrid, and they seem like very powerful dragons, or very ranged. They have a lot of options. The only issue is they are very fragile compared to other dragons. There's some that are very tanky and can do, or not super tanky, but fairly more durable and can do the same things, whereas the Natter is just slightly less durable. So I kind of have to put in B tier for that reason. Giving the highest benefit of the doubt to the Timberjack, I'm putting it in low A tier. Because all we know about it is it can cut trees. I think it can breathe fire. I don't know. probably can. I'm assuming it should. If not, that's a problem. But cutting through acres upon acres of trees in allegedly like a few swings is definitely impressive. I think that can be very useful against other dragons, but that is giving it the absolutely highest benefit of the doubt, and I can't put it any higher for that. Sort of the same thing with the Snap Trapper. After putting it in B, we haven't seen either of these two do anything. Keep that in mind. We haven't seen either of these two dragons really do anything, so for that I can't really put it like any higher. Triple Strike's gonna go in A tier. This dragon, move, please. The Triple Strike is, it's very agile in the air. When they rescued Sleuther from the Dragon Hunter, what's it called? Battle arena that they had, it was doing barrel rolls, it was flying upside down, it was going crazy in the air, and, they have pretty strong fire breath. They have those tails that can disorient dragons, like what happened to Toothless during the fight. All in all, a pretty powerful dragon. And as a side note, this is not contributing to anything, but I can't be the only person who looks at this and thinks, oh my god, this dragon is Garchomp. I'm not the only one who thinks it, and I know that. Please, someone comment down below that they know that. This thing is Garchomp. I know it. I knew the least about the Grim Gnashers, and I had to rewatch the episode that they are in today. They are B tier. They are garbage. They have good teamwork, and they're good numbers. They're immune to slithering venom, apparently. I read on the wiki today. That's it. That's all I can give them. Shooting teeth is not the best projectile. I don't know if they just instantly regrow, but you have a finite number of teeth in your body. So once you run out of that, you're kind of screwed. Plus, they're pretty fragile when you look at it. So for that, I cannot put them any higher. So Grunkle's going B tier. They're definitely very durable, but the problem with them is that they need a constant source of ammunition, like how Fish Slugs has to constantly feed Meatlug. And the problem with that, there aren't always going to be rocks everywhere, so they're going to run out of ammunition fairly quickly. They have a really low shot limit, according to how many ever rocks they eat. They're just not smart. I'm sorry, but they're just not the most intelligent dragon. They sort of have to be, commanded sometimes, and I think overall that kind of really lowers them down. Originally, I would have had the Dremelion a bit lower, but after learning some new stuff about it today, and going over the episode again, I have to put these in A tier, because I originally thought it was only the alpha that can mimic all of the dragon breaths, but no, normal Dremelions could do that too. They can mimic any dragon breath at all, which is very strong. Plus, even if, they can't mimic all at a time, they still have Grunkle shots and, Natter Fire, so there's that. They're very versatile, they're agile, they're a bit fragile, I'd say, kind of like Natter, but they have horns and stuff. I think overall pretty strong dragon. Haven't really seen the Hobblegrunt do anything, so I can't really say anything about it. Has fire, can apparently predict the future. Can't really give any other stuff. But, I feel like this is kind of a hot take. Hear me out. Changewick is S tier. Now, hear me out. The thing about this is, I think after Riders Rebirth and, the riders have dealt with the Changewick so many times, people, kind of stopped, worrying about them. Thing is, though, they're still very dangerous and powerful dragons. They have Acid Breath, which is already really OP, but they can also use Camouflage, and we all know how hard it is to find a Camouflage Changeling sometimes, and I highly doubt that most of these dragons will even care to find one, which means that this dragon, and it's fairly intelligent too, can do a sneak attack and attack other dragons. Given they're not the fastest, but I legit think that they are one of the deadliest dragons, and I'm kind of shocked by the amount of people that say that, they're not as dangerous as I've seen. Remoran is going to go in B tier. They're quite durable. I will admit that. They're strong. They have really tanky attacks, and they have a really strong Fire Blast. Only problem, they're not incredibly smart, and they are really slow. Like, if you send one, like, flying down, with, especially with Stoic on it, like, even with Stoic on it, it, like, barely managed to save itself last second before hitting the water. So for that, I gotta give it B tier. Simpleback's gonna go in low A tier. Out of all the original 6 dragons that the first movie introduced, this one was easily the most destructive, and I think that's for a good reason. They're fairly durable, I'd say. They can cause absolutely massive collateral damage and even harm other dragons via the explosions. Only problem, if you take out one of the heads, you're kind of screwed. Especially if you take out the Sparky Sparky Boom head, because then the Barfing head can't really ignite the gas. So I think for that small weakness, and combined with the fact that they're not really the most intelligent either, they're going A tier. Fire Emblem Queen is going to go in A tier, because she's fairly durable and strong, minus the Cavern Crasher, but you know, that's the Cavern Crasher in a cave, what else do you expect? As strong as Fire Breath, I'm assuming, to my recollection, that they can heat themselves up just like the tiny fireworms. Not really too much to go over. They do have a size advantage over most dragons, but I think because of that, I can't really put them much higher. The Armor Wing is going to go into B tier. Now, the reason I'm putting it in B tier is, like, honestly, when I first saw this thing in, like, all the trailers and everything, I thought it was going to be an absolutely massive dragon. I thought it was going to be really intimidating and scary. It was, till it's the next to Stormfly, Hookfang, and Toothless, and it was actually kind of small. Like, it's still bigger than them, but, like, a lot smaller than I expected. They have a really, like, good projectile, blinding fire, but that has to land right in the eyes. And while the metal can be a good defense, stuff like Smothering Smoke Breaths can get rid of it, and they don't have scales, so they don't have a defense to anything once all the metal's gone. So I think for that, it has to go in B tier. Bone Napper, I think, will also go in B tier, but above the Armor Wing, I think solely because it's more durable, it's larger, it has that ear-piercing roar, which I think could be really debilitating to some dragons. And I think overall it is a very powerful dragon. Not as powerful as A or S tiers yet, but definitely stronger than the Armor Wing, I think. This ugly turd nugget is going in B tier. I can't be the only person who thinks this. Sure, if you're in a cave, you're gonna have trouble with this thing. But if you're outside of the cave, you can't do anything to it. Sure, it has mucus, but has a limited amount, and with Hookfang and the Fireworm Queen burning it out, it can run out very quickly. But the mucus is flammable, and you can even explode yourself. It has Fire Blast, or like a fireball to shoot at the mucus to make it explode, and like crushing, or like, what's the word? Collapsing. Collapsing your skeleton is also a pretty useful thing in some scenarios, but not in the face of battle. So this thing's going in B tier. The Scuttle Claws are going in the bottom of B tier. Haven't really seen anything the adults have done. They don't seem incredibly smart. They seem incredibly clumsy. There's not really much I've seen, so I can't really put them any higher. Stormcutters are gonna go into B tier. I don't think they're quite as overpowered as some of the other dragons up here, but the 180-degree rotation of the neck is definitely helpful in some scenarios, I'd say. I think overall they're a pretty decent dragon. Not too much to go over, because they do have fire, but like 90% of these dragons have fire, or like 85, so Death Gripper's gonna go in A tier. Their venom can be pretty powerful, I think. They have acid breath like the Changeling, not I still think the Changewing will probably beat a Death Gripper by the camouflage, but the Death Gripper is still pretty powerful. I haven't seen the third movie in a very long time, not since the theaters actually, so not really, like, I don't remember too much about them. All I remember is that, wow, these are really powerful dragons, and I think for that they should go in A tier. I'm only putting the Bufflord in B tier, because when it gets taken off its land, it loses its mind. It loses its mind. It puffs up, its eyes dilate, and it says it's Bufflord in time, and just rains all hell upon everything. But then when it comes back to land, it just sits there, deflates, and eats grass. It doesn't do anything. I'm only putting it in B tier because of the Bufflord in time that it does whenever it leaves its island. There's not much for it. I'm sorry. Eruptodon is going to go in B tier. Yes, this thing is durable, but it doesn't really have any good projectiles minus lava, and it is really, really slow. So can't really say too much. Yeah. Hot Purple is going to go in C tier. These things are lazy. They're not very smart. I think they have a strong projectile. I don't remember. But, yeah, I can't really say too much about it. Night Fury. Easy S tier. These things are some of the fastest, most intelligent, most powerful dragons in the series. And it's well deserved. This thing is I guess it was the first Black Air Force of How to Train Dragons, though I think another dragon definitely took that title over. This thing is really smart. I'm not really taking, feats of Toothless, like defeating alphas into account, but I will apply intelligence, stats, other stuff to a normal Night Fury. These things are smart, and they are really accurate. Their Plasma Blasts are already a deadly enough weapon, but combined with their intelligence, it really makes them dangerous. So I think because of that, it's an easy S tier. Strike Claws is kind of falling from grace here. I am putting the Snow Wraith in B tier. This thing does have a weaker Plasma Blast, and it can do good numbers in snowy habitats. Just one problem. Its vision is so bad. It has heat-reliant vision, right? And guess what these 85% of dragons can do? They can breathe fire and melt stuff around them, which is going to disorient it, and therefore make it have a hard time fighting and give the other dragon an edge. These dragons just, they're fine, but there are so many better options. The baby fireworms are, in my opinion, easily the weakest dragons on this list. They are really tiny, they can only heat themselves up, and they don't really do anything, and that's kind of all I have to say. Singe-tail is going to be A tier. These things, I think, minus the Kaiju tier, this is one of, if not the least vulnerable dragon on this list. They can cover themselves from every range. It's like, the head is just like, hey, I need some backup. And then the stomach and tail are just like, oh yeah, okay. And fire from those areas. They can literally cover themselves on every ground except their back. Even theoretically, they can just launch their tail up to face the back of their head and just fire. So they kind of have all grounds covered when it comes to protecting themselves. They're not the most durable, but they're fairly intelligent. They're very fast. And I think overall they are a very dangerous dragon. Yeah. Snafflefangs, B tier. Not really much to say. Big, dumb, it has fire, it's tanky, but I can't say much about it. That's the problem. So, yeah. I think this is probably the hardest to choose, one of the hardest, but I have to put the Smothering Smoke Breaths above the Night Terrors, mainly because of their fog and how it can confuse enemies. That is it. That is the only reason I'm putting them above the Night Terrors. They can't really do anything. Same point sort of stands with the Night Terrors. They can't do anything by themselves. With an army of them, maybe something, but there's not really anything. The Nightlights, I have not watched the 9 Realms, and I have no idea how powerful the dragon there is, if it even is a Nightlight. And it really hurts me to put him here because he's so cute and tiny. But I have to put him in C tier because we don't see them do anything other than fly and shoot the Plasma Blast. And we never saw them as adults, so I can't really do much. So, for that reason, I'm putting it there. Catastrophic Quaken is just busted. It's easy A tier. It's incredibly durable. I don't remember it having fire, but this thing can roll at you incredibly fast. And the most dangerous thing, it can make a massive shockwave that throws off any dragons flying. This is insanely powerful. Like, oh my gosh, dude. This dragon, like, whenever I talk about it more and more, I just realize how busted and overpowered these are. The Speed Stingers are going to go in the same tier. They are going in B tier. As much as it hurts me to put these there, they are my second favorite dragon. I can't really do much to most of these because these dragons can just fly in the air and they're bound to the ground. Yes, they can jump in the air really high, but that's kind of all they have going for them. Their stingers are very potent, though, and they are the fastest dragon on this list, I am certain. Not even Toothless, I don't think, can outspeed these things, so I think because of that, I confidently put these things in A tier, or B tier. Light Fury, I am going to put it in A tier. Might be a controversial call, given that it is similar to a Night Fury, but we haven't really seen, like, the same level of, well, similar level of intelligence, but durability, no, not really. Our attacks aren't as strong as Toothless or Night Furies in general, and I think it's just, like, not great. Slitherwings, they are A tier. You cannot even, there are, like, a limited amount of dragons that can even touch these things without dying. They can, like, fling their venom everywhere. They are very dangerous, and like all these dragons down here don't really have a reliable, even the Speed Stingers to an extent, they don't have a reliable way to defeat this thing. The only thing that there's like a really good chance is the Grimnashers, but that's the only point I'm giving them. And I think these dragons are just not good. That's just me. Sandbuster, going in B tier, to be honest. Yes, this dragon is fast, but it's weak to sunlight. Its fire isn't very good. It is kind of agile with the long body, but that's kind of it. I can't really give it any more. Skuldrin is going in low A tier. I do not like these things at all. I hate them. But the thing about them, they're big. They have scalding hot water. They have venomous bites, and apparently the water is also venomous. I don't remember. I have to research that a bit more, but they're venomous in some way, and they're pretty tanky. They're all around very dangerous. I am calling it, this is absolutely the most controversial thing I'm doing here. Skrill is S tier, above Night Fury. Fight me all you want, I am dying on this hill. The Skrill is just as intelligent as a Night Fury. It has somewhat more firepower. It's somewhat larger. It's just as fast. And I think it's fairly deadly. I think, basically, it's very, like, situational, because these dragons have a lot, like, they have a lot to do with storms and whatnot, and, yeah, some of their power is circumstantial, but they also have tons of this stored up and can fire it anyway. Even close to the water, they are intelligent. They know to stay in the air. This thing deflected one of Toothless's plasma blasts, and then just flew away after. No biggie. Like, they are powerful. I'm strong in the fact that I'm in the minority that the Skrill is stronger than a Night Fury. I will fight to the death over this thing. And, like, I'm not even biased towards this thing. Yeah, it's my favorite dragon, but, like, this it is incredibly dangerous, I think. If Hiccup wasn't there with Toothless, I don't think Toothless had a good shot at winning. Squirrel beats Night Fury 7 out of 10. I think I stand by that. Whispering Death is going to go in A tier. I think these dragons are very dangerous. They're hostile. They are very aggressive. They have spikes. I don't think they can fire the spikes to my knowledge, but if they can, that just makes them more dangerous. They don't like sunlight, but they can bury underground really fast. They have rotating teeth that can apparently hypnotize you. And, Rings of Fire. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Now the Razor Whip. Oh boy, this thing is A tier. Actually, above the Triple Strike. These dragons are one of the few that can, like, damage dragon-proof bars and metal, which is very impressive, I think. They're very sleek and agile, like when Hiccup and Toothless were chasing Heather and Windshear. They apparently have poisonous tears. That's not really going to help, but oh well. I still think that's pretty good. I think, all in all, they're really strong dragons. Yeah. Death Song's going to be S tier. Admittedly, it's like low S tier, but this dragon is really like strong. It's not the most durable by any means, and it did struggle against the Slitherwings, but this thing's Amber. Oh boy, you better not get caught in it. I'm willing to bet that 90% of these dragons are going to get caught in it, and this thing's song can even hypnotize most dragons. This is a really powerful dragon, and I think it's a pretty good S tier dragon. Terrible Terror, it's a hard choice to make, but I have to put it in C tier. Below the Night Terror, but above the Night... I'll put it above the Nightlights, because they're small, and they have, like, somewhat decent fire. That's all they have going for them. They are incredibly fragile. They're only used for Terror Mail. That's kind of it. Typhoomerangs are A tier. They are A tier. This thing has, like, really sharp hooked claws. Like, you can cut through stuff. Not as well as the Timberjack, but pretty strong. And that fire is so powerful, dude. Like, oh my god. I think the only disadvantage they have is maneuverability, which is how Hiccup and Toothless managed to defeat one. But, yeah, that's kind of where I put it. Flightmare, this is going to be a hot take. I'm putting it in B tier. Now, hear me out. The only thing this dragon has going for it is its breath, and that's it. It can't really do much else. It's not very durable. It sticks out like a sore thumb because it's glowing all the time. It constantly needs to eat this stuff. And it, like, the mist just, like, wears off after, like, a few minutes. So it's not really going to be too much use, especially when it runs out. So I think because of that, it's lower B tier. And finally, I forgot the name of this thing, but I'm putting it in C tier. We don't really see it do anything. I don't remember. And, I think it can breathe fire. Gobber was terrified of this thing the whole movie. But, I can't really put it any higher, to be honest. Like, we just don't see it do anything. So, like, yeah, I'm putting it there, and just like that, we went with starting from an S tier dragon to a C tier. How exciting. But, yeah, that's my tier list on which dragons are the strongest, or most powerful, best, whatever word you want to use. This is entirely in my opinion. I'd love to hear what all of you guys think. And, yeah, this was honestly pretty fun to make. Innerly debating myself on which dragons would be, seeing which ones would be unexpectedly high, and mourning the loss of some of my favorites. But I think overall this is... I say I agree a lot with this tier list, but let me know what you think. If you think there's if something inaccurate or anything, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear all of you say what you want. Hearing opinions, I honestly love it. It's a lot of fun to talk about stuff with people, especially stuff I'm passionate about. So thank you guys for watching so much. Consider subscribing because I want to reach 500 pretty soon. Probably not by the end of the year, sadly. But with that, I'll see you guys later and have a wonderful day. And just know, uh, Triple Strike equals Garchomp. Okay, bye.